Hey everybody, it's Hendrik again, and today we are making sourdough croissants with a whopping 60% butter. And they turned out so incredibly well, I really did not expect it. Actually, it was an accident for me to use sourdough. I was in the process of making them and then I realized, shoot, I don't have any yeast left, but I still had some sourdough starter, so I just used more sourdough starter. Sourdough croissants are way more difficult. You have the yeast and you have the bacteria and they ferment your dough. And the yeast is creating gas and the bacteria is creating acid. That's why it's called sourdough. Now the problem is that over time this acid keeps piling up, and at some point your dough is so much soaked with acid that the gluten in your dough starts to break down. And the gluten is basically what makes your dough stick together. So that's not good. That makes it so much more challenging to bake something with sourdough because you have to get the fermentation process exactly right. And I was super scared after mixing it to screw this up. But I think it turned out quite well. So let me show you exactly how that works. Just a little bit of background. The French viewers are probably thinking now, merde l'allemand, how can you mix the croissant? And yes, I'm sorry if I'm not doing it 100% authentic. I'm really trying my best. I watched a lot of videos on this and I'll show you exactly. But before doing that, my French viewers, some random trivia. We've been occupied by the French and we tried to copy your croissant first. And I will be showing you how our copied version of the French croissant looks like. And the Hamburgian version of the French croissant. It has cinnamon, it's not really puff pastry, but I can guarantee you it's super delicious. Franzbrötchen. We failed at trying to copy your croissant. I'm so sorry. Well, off topic, let's get back to the main video. So, not really a croissant, right? We call this Franzbrötchen, French bread. And please, when you come to Hamburg, when you come to visit us, definitely give this a shot and let me know what you think about Franzbrötchen. So now back to the croissant making and let's get started. I will show you the whole process from start to finish. Here we go with all the ingredients in one picture that we need. We need bread flour, flour with a lot of protein ideally, sourdough, some malt, milk, salt, sugar, and of course butter. Let me put together all the ingredients. I'll be listing the details in the description. The croissant dough always has half water and half milk. So that's what I'm mixing right now. This is followed up by adding my sourdough. I only wanted to add a tiny bit of sourdough initially. I did not want to make a full sourdough-based croissant. Because I thought I have enough yeast, so I just like to add a little bit of sourdough for the start. That was the salt, followed by the sugar. And now next up, I'm going to be adding the yeast. And this is where I realized I screwed up. I simply don't have enough yeast. So what could I do? I went to the shops. I checked that out. I could not find any yeast. So I checked here, no yeast. Damn it. So this is when I realized I fucked up. So I had to up my sourdough game. And as I said, with sourdough, we have to do everything just right. The timing has to be perfect. So yeah, whatever. I'm going to be adding more sourdough now. So now a little bit of the leavening is coming from the yeast, but a lot of it is also coming from my super active sourdough. Now I'm adding the malt. The malt has a slight malty taste to it. It really gives excellent taste. At least that's what I read on the interwebs. And here we go with some butter. Now I'm just going to start stirring everything together. Just like that, stir it. I just like to homogenize everything so that I can add the flour later a little bit easier. Again, you want to be using a flour which has a high protein content. This means you can develop a much, much stronger gluten network. My flour has around 14% of protein. So now the autolysis starts, and this is so incredibly easy. All you have to do is you have to stir your dough together and let it sit, and this will magically create superb strength without kneading. I always like to make every dough from hand because that way I get a much better feeling for the dough, and especially also for the fermentation. When baking with sourdough, getting everything perfectly on point, especially the timing, that's really the key. You have to read your dough. And that's why I like to use the hands, because this way I can get a feeling for how ready is the dough. So we just put it together. We don't want to develop any strength, and then we will let it sit for 15 minutes. And you will see how much strength that already created just by letting it sit. This dough turned into a super strong dough just by waiting. I'm always amazed how much this does and how little you really need a machine to work your dough. You could not over knead your dough. You could with a machine, with your hands, you will get tired first. The dough is going to beat you. I'm now kneading the dough on the bench a little bit, just rolling it like this. There's not really a strategy. Don't use any additional flour. And now let's let this rest until it doubled in size. So the dough has to double in size, and then we are ready for the next stage. You can give it a coil fold in between, but it's not really required. I'm linking a video right here. So next up, the butter. So this is 50% of the flour's weight in butter. So we are looking at a lot of butter. I'm just lining up the butter, and then I'm trying to wrap it in my parchment paper. This way I'll have a uniform block of butter that I can put into the dough. So I'm sort of trying, reminded me a little bit of being younger and folding paper planes. But yeah, fold this together, then fold this over from the right hand side and left hand side, and then just start rolling it. I hope it's called a rolling pin, right? Sorry for my German, it's a rolling pin, isn't it? So take this, now I'm speaking with the German accent, take this and roll this out. Sehr gut, ausgezeichnet. Wunderbar, jawohl. So just roll it out. You want to have a nice rectangular piece of butter, actually squarish, not rectangular, and have a look. Oh, this butter. Is it only me? I want to eat it. I just want to eat the butter directly. And here we go with the dough. The dough is ready. Now the butter I placed in the fridge, I let it cool down. You want the butter to be very cold, else you cannot form the layers that well in your dough. I'm just rolling out the dough now. Don't worry, it's going to get degassed. That's totally fine. And now I'm going to be placing the butter directly in the center. And then afterwards, what we have to do is we have to enclose the butter, a little bit like a letter. We have to enclose the butter into the dough. And then we will have one layer of dough and butter. Actually, I think I was wrong. I did not use the proper word. It was the freezer, not the fridge. I put it into the freezer. So my butter was in the freezer. Take this and close it up like this. Oh, this is looking so smooth. Now the butter is inside, and we want to start doing our first fold already. Making a croissant is all about creating layers. Some people create 32 layers, others 27. The real French croissant masters say it has to be 32 layers. And I'll be showing you exactly how you get those layers. You don't have to repeat the same process 32 times. Don't worry, there's a trick.
So with the rolling pin, you just start rolling your dough. And I'm obviously very, very, very bad at it. I'm just speeding it up a little bit. I don't want to bore you too much. Just make sure that you roll evenly to all sides. You want your dough to be a little bit, you want it to have straight lines, and obviously you can see how much I'm failing here. And you can already see the butter spreading in the dough. Good butter. Nom, 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 nom. And at this point, I was already so hungry, I was really considering eating parts of the dough. All right, so this is the shape of our dough, and now I'm folding it over like this. And I'm taking the second part. Now, you see, actually, I failed. Don't worry, this can happen. This is also why the butter was cooled down so much. First, I'm popping that bubble, and now I'm trying it again. With cold butter, that's really no problem. You can just do it one more time if you're not too happy with where you folded it. So fold it like that. Take the other side, and now we have 2 layers at the top and 2 layers at the bottom. Now I'm just evening it out a little bit. Don't worry too much if it does not perfectly fit. And voila, boom, we created 4 layers like this. So those are the first 4 layers. And now we want to cut it at the top. That's very important. And there as well, because there the butter bent over, and we don't want that. We want even layers. So take a sharp knife, and this really elevated my croissant making game. Take a sharp knife and cut this open. This way your butter does not have so much tension and you have clean layers. Getting this right is a little bit tricky. Look to the sides. You really want to hit that dough. That's le meat. And again, on the other sides, basically everywhere where you fold it over the butter, you want to do that incision. This is really going to help with preserving better layers. Dough is ready, and we worked it a little bit. Oh yes, here you can see some of the layers already. We worked the dough a little bit, and now it's time for the dough to just cool down. So it's not about proofing. We don't want the dough to increase in size. We just want the butter to be cold again. And now you can place it in the fridge for as long as you like. But since I froze the butter before, I'm just doing it for an hour. So an hour in the fridge, not the freezer, then it's cold again. And here we go with the dough. And guess what? We will be folding one more time. So we have 4 layers. And we want to create 32 layers. So how do we get there? Math, please. How do we get there? How do we get all those super layers? So let's roll it out one more time. Try to roll it out evenly if possible. I'm not really good at this. Maybe I need a better rolling pin, but give your best. Here you can already see some layers of butter and dough. So also, since it's a sourdough, you don't want to wait too long in the fridge because, again, if you ferment too long, you will be adding a lot of acid. This is also where a flour which has a high protein content comes into play because there's more gluten, and so it will take longer for your flour to break down. When I proofed it initially, when I bulk fermented it in the first rising stage, that must have taken me around 5 hours or so. So with yeast, it would have taken maybe an hour or so. But it took me quite a long time. Actually, let me get back to focusing here. So what I'm doing is I'm just folding it over like this. And this created us now 2 layers. 2 times 4 means 8 layers. And we will be cutting this open again like that. So now we already have 8 beautiful layers. You don't want to create 100 layers or 1,000 layers because at some point, I want to eat this. At some point they become too thin, and then you will not see them anymore in the final product. So it's not recommended to create too many layers. That's why some people create 27 or 32. Wrap this up again. You don't want your dough to dry out. This happened to me before. Make sure that it's covered everywhere and that it's not possible for the dough to dry out. And back to the fridge for another hour. And an hour later, that was fast, the dough, and now we are ready for the final fold. Remember, we had 8 layers and we want to get to 32. So what we have to do now is we have to fold another 4 layers, and then we'll have our 32 layers. 32 layers of delicious butter and dough. Roll this out again. By the way, the longer you let it rest in the fridge, the easier it's going to be to roll it out, because your gluten is going to relax. And relaxed gluten makes it very easy to roll out the dough. So for instance, when you make a pizza or so, and it's very hard to shape the pizza balls, then just let your dough rest for a little bit longer. So it could be, if you can't roll it out, that you didn't let it rest enough. Same thing again. We will be creating another 4 layers. I'm just pulling the dough a little bit more, tucking it down so that it looks a little bit more even, but don't worry about this. The croissants will be amazing anyways. Missing our incision. So let's be doing our final incision. This always hurts me a little bit to cut the dough, but it's for the greater good. Nice looking layers. I find it so satisfying to look at pastry dough, seeing the butter and the layers. Nom, nom, nom. Makes me so hungry all the time. So just cut it again with the knife and back to the fridge. And we want to let that cool down a little bit. And then we are ready to roll it out. This letting it rest in the fridge is so important, because you don't want your butter to melt. That's why you do it. There's one downside to it. Basically, our dough is super cold now, and for the final proofing of the croissants, our dough is cold, so this will take much, much longer than expected, which is also what I'm realizing in a little bit later in this video. Now is the moment to use some flour. We just want to roll this out. I did some quick research, and 25 centimeters seems to be the perfect length for the croissant dough from the top edge to the bottom, and has around a 45-degree angle. So I'm just going to be rolling this out until it is around 25 centimeters. Maybe that's the German in me that I like to be precise. Or maybe it gives me a false sense of security that I'm able to measure things. So I'm just rolling this out. I'm using more flour. Don't worry, you can just brush off the excess flour. Normally, also with baking, you want to be using as little flour as possible, but here we can just brush off the excess flour in a little bit. Almost looking good. I'm already starting to cut off the edges. And now we have a nice looking rectangle. Now I'm going to be marking 8 centimeters everywhere. So 8 centimeters, 8 centimeters, another 8 centimeters, and another one. And at the top, I'm using 4 centimeters and then 8 centimeters again. So that's how I'm going to be cutting the croissants. And so from that area to the bottom, that's now 25 centimeters. I'm not throwing away the scraps. Actually, I need to reveal this to you. I was eating some of them raw because I was just so hungry. So just take that, cut out the croissant. Good looking croissants. Yes. Nom, 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 nom. Make sure that when you cut them, I'm screwing this up sometimes, you should do that with very, very swift, concise movements. You see some scraps there? The layers will not be so beautiful during baking. So try to be as concise as possible. Now, the bottom side is going to be facing you, and we will start rolling this up. Give this a very, very tight shaping. And actually here, I was... Okay, I noticed my own mistake. So the beautiful side should be at the bottom. And I actually did it wrong on the first croissant. Damn me. So no, this is not the way how you should do it. We Germans like to drink a lot of beer, you know. Maybe that was the reason here. Now I'm doing it right. I hope. Yes! So this is the way how you should do it. This side should be facing you. Brush off some of that excess flour and roll up that dough. You don't want the floury side to be at the top. Nope. You want the other side to be at the top. Roll them and give it a very tight roll. Make sure that the seam should still be visible. Because if not, like this, the seam should be visible. If not, then the seam is going to bake upwards in the oven. Your croissant might spring open. Cover this with some linen. And this is how they look like after 2 hours of proofing. They should double in size again, but they did not. And now it's already super late. I expected them to bake, but it's already midnight. So let me hold this for a second and tell you what this means. I'm putting them into the fridge overnight because if they would proof for 8 hours, they would overproof. So I'm now going to be using the fridge, and that's going to cause some issues. So let's have a look at that in the morning.
So, as I expected, I put the croissants overnight in the fridge, but they did not really expand at all in size. So I've now placed them at room temperature again, hoping for them to proof a little bit more, because they should double in size just like a bread. Let's see, maybe this overnight fridge, then proofing at room temperature. I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, well, sometimes you don't have the time and you gotta do what you have to do. So I'm just waiting a little bit more, and then I hope that they'll turn out nicely. Let's see.
And those are the croissants around 5 hours later. And let me freeze that for a second. 5 hours, it took so much time. But they have to double in size. This is called proofing, and you want to make sure that you proof them long enough, else they won't have such a nice open crumb in the end. I'm preparing an egg wash, just basically stirring an egg, and I'm also making another egg wash. I didn't show it in this video, which is going to be here for the left-hand croissants, half egg, half water. I wanted to see what exactly is the difference. I'm hoping the pure egg ones to be a little bit darker in the color in the end. So I always like to do A/B tests. Just making one part of the product like this and another one like this. That way I learn a little bit more. If you're a software engineer, then you probably have heard the term A/B testing before. So right ones will be covered in pure egg. I preheated the oven to maximum temperature for 20 minutes. I'm now reducing the temperature to 200 degrees Celsius. I have this bowl here at the bottom. The croissants will go in there, go into the oven. And now this bowl at the bottom, I will be adding boiling water. And this will create a lot of steam, and steam is so important that you don't have a crust that forms directly. So just pour in your boiling water. This creates a lot of steam. I'm also linking my best steam method for the home oven right here. And look at this. All croissants bacon. Just look at that butter coming out. This really made my mouth water. I was sitting in front of the oven just watching the croissants the whole time. So good. Here during half the bake, right hand ones are with pure egg wash and the left hand ones are with egg wash and water. And wow, look at this. All that work, it came together in this moment. Beautiful looking croissants. You can see the layers. The coloring is great. And now we just have to cut them open and check out the crumb. And actually here you can see a leftover scrap on the right hand side. I just like to bake them like that as well. So let me cut that open. I failed. I'm cutting that open now here. And let's have a look at the crumb. Are you excited? Are you excited? Drum roll. And here we go.
Hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something new. And please do let me know if you have some feedback or things that I can improve. Next time, I definitely want to try getting a real French butter. I already had organic butter, but I want to get a special butter from Bretagne or Normandy, something super delicious. I'm very curious to see if that makes a difference. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye.